Hello everyone. So welcome to your own channel Mitra. Now today being a Thursday, let me just choose one of the topics which has been drawing my attention for some time now, and that is family life. Because I have also been questioning about the importance and significance of family life, and how does it really benefit an individual at an individual level, or at the social level, at the spiritual level, or we can say at the economic and financial level. So what is the real reason as to why this setup of a household is is becoming so meaningful, and whether it is becoming meaningful, or are we just assuming some kind of an importance which is not really existent, and hyping it up into something which is considered as important. So these are certain points which I have been thinking about, and yeah, there has been also some research which went into um, opening up certain perceptions which were earlier not found, and these definitely brought out certain key features or aspects, or the basis of why somebody should choose to enter a family life and go through all the nitty-gritties and challenges which any householder, whether a male or a female, experiences. Now, let me just start with the current theme of how a family, of what the current scenario, or let me just give a typical scene within any family. So here we are speaking about a couple, a husband and a wife. So the basis here is any individual's likes, dislikes, the choices that they want to make, their preferences, as opposed to those of their partners. Now there are many events which keep happening, whether we really want it or not, and these events then trigger up certain responses and stimulus that eventually cascades into something which is experientially blissful, or completely opposite of that. So what currently is the trend is that many people are experiencing divorces, basically because there has been an emphasis on an individual's likes and dislikes, whether I want this, what I want, what are my ambitions, what are my goals, and whether the other person is able to flexibly adapt himself or herself to my needs and the way I want to lead life. Now, whether that individual really is having certain goalposts which are beneficial to him or not is something which we really have to ponder about, or that particular individual has to think about, which is again uncertain. So is there a common platform or a common basis for all human beings, whether male or female, to attain to their particular goals, and as well as smoothly conduct a family life, and also experience happiness without having conflicts, too much of conflicts? So yes, the answer is yes. And how do we arrive at this answer is that the main purpose, or the main intention with which a person should enter a family life, is to give up expectations and think about what the other, how this individual can contribute to the growth and development of the other person. So this is not something as what is generally called as, my better half is, I am 50, he or she is 50, so we both together make 100. No, it's not like that. You first become 100% yourself, then there is another person who's becoming, or who has become 100% themselves. Now these two come together, and that is when you have the much required energy to give rise to another life form, which is again 100%. So this is the only way, and the common goalposts to attain here is that any human being who has come on earth has this goal of realizing his own true identity. So who you really are. Now, are you really this body which is made up of bone, flesh, and other discardable material, or are you this mind, or are you this internal buddhi tattva, or the brain which keeps giving you impulses about how to act and how to react in any given situation? So which of these are you really, or is there something apart from this which you really are? So these are the kind of questions which really bring one person to the inherent and core aspects of what one really desires. Now, any likes or dislikes, list of likes or dislikes that a person may enlist actually involves only those which are perceptible to the senses. Give it a thought. Only whichever you hear, whichever you see, whichever you are able to smell, whichever you are able to touch or feel, or you are able to taste, form a part of your likes and dislikes. So nothing beyond this, which means that this is very much part of the perceptible. Now perceptions, what we really have to understand is this, that the perceptions are not stagnant, they are not constant, they are bound to change over a period of time, which means likes, dislikes change over a period of time. Then should this be the basis to decide about the quality of relationship with any other individual? So this is the question I'm asking you. You may reply or give your responses in the comment section below. So can this be a basis about deciding whether or not to relate to another individual? So if any family life is based solely on this, then definitely it is bound to doom. What really should form the basis for a family life is this, that we both have a common goal of knowing our true identities. And it is a journey. It is not going to happen. We both acknowledge that this is not going to happen in one day. It might, but it need not certainly happen with everybody. So we understand, and we are okay with giving the required time and space, however long it might take. For it will vary from individual to individual. So we both acknowledge this fact that we both have to grow. We both have to ultimately answer this question about who we truly are. And in answering this question, in going through this journey, there are certain phases. So because it's a human mind, it is drawn to various objects which is perceived in this world, and there is some attraction, there is some repulsion, there is some aversion, there is some liking, and there is a constant pull and push happening here, where the mind is tousled between two conflicting thoughts, ideas, two conflicting objects or categories, so good and bad, failure and success, for example. So these are the different oscillating points between which the mind keeps oscillating. So to study the mind, or to make the mind enable it to answer the ultimate question, it has to first be stabilized at one particular point. And to stabilize this, there are certain techniques, and to follow these techniques, you require certain attention and time which you need to devote for this. But we would say, in this fast-paced world, how are we able to devote time and make time for this? Then the rishis have already thought about this, it seems, in the ancient era, and then they have come up with certain solutions that how should we weave the entire process of gradual growth into our everyday life. So especially in this age of strife, where we see struggles everywhere, where we are seeing conflicts majority, then how should an individual realize his ultimate goal? In going through, in satisfying his needs, desires, and without trying to be too hard or harsh by asking you to sacrifice everything at that very instant. So Sanatana Dharma, and the rishis who have brought out this knowledge have been very favorable, have been very kind, compassionate, and they say that no, don't worry, you don't really have to forgo everything. I will make such an arrangement that you are able to ultimately realize your truest goal while also enjoying the everyday life as you might do, provided there are certain rules and regulations which you are willing to follow, and these are also not so stringent. So it is pretty easy once you have the intention to attain your goal. So for example, if you set up your mind to say that I am going to be the best footballer, then you are willing to put in all the hard work, and the first thing that you will be required to do is discipline yourself, go for a regular practice, and then work with your mind also to strengthen the mind and to see how you can play well, better each time that you play. How should your game become better? So similarly with anything, if you have decided and put up your mind to say that my goal is to become the best doctor or the best surgeon, then you know that what is the kind of rigorous practice that you need to put in, and you have to be available 24/7. You cannot say no. Whatever the sacrifices required, you are willing to put in. So why not for your ultimate goal? Once you make up your mind that yes, I want to know the true identity of who I really am, because that is the ultimate goal for which I have taken birth on this planet, then yes, certainly I am willing to put in the kind of discipline required to achieve that goal. And definitely, once you make up the mind like this, then the family life has a certain purpose, and it has achieved a certain meaning beyond the nitty-gritties or the nuances or the naive type of I want this, I want that, wishes and desires fulfilling drama. So then you have already grown or matured, because now you have a bigger goal or a bigger picture towards which all these smaller things or smaller achievements are going to lead you. So that being said, the real theme and the reason why one should come in the family life is first, after you finish your education, you are empowered mentally, physically, and you have the knowledge of how to interact with different people in the family level, in the social circles, and definitely in your workplace with your professional colleagues. As you have the basics, then you really build upon the basic, and again for more experience and knowledge, and through your own analysis, you gain a lot of wisdom, if I may say so. Similarly, here in the family life, once you graduate out of the knowledge of the Shastras, which you really need to have, because the Shastras have the prescription about how the everyday life can be interwoven. Everyday life in the sense the desires, ambitions of one person clubbing with the other person's desires, goals and ambitions. Together, how do you achieve this particular goal of attaining to your true identity? So when you have such a greater goal together, then you have already teamed up. Then you are not working on a single list of what I want to achieve. Now you have a common list of what we want to achieve ultimately, and therefore in every event or situation of life, you very naturally blend together. And definitely, because now this family life, if you follow the prescriptions, then it becomes a reason for the survival and sustenance of every other living organism. For example, your household brings in certain income. Now a part of this income has to be spent towards the betterment, growth and development of others who are educating themselves, towards those who are unable to procure an income for themselves or unable to procure means of sustenance for themselves, like sannyasis, like monks, and people who are homeless. Then there is definitely a part which goes to the other living things, like your plants, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom. Then you are able to nourish the creatures which are beneath the soil. There are aerial beings, birds. So everything is taken care of. So a part of your income goes to satisfying the needs of all this, not just this. It has been said that the primary duty of a householder or a family person leading a family life is to cater to the 5 Mahayagnyas, or the 5 great sacrifices which he has to make. That is Devata, Rishi, Mitra, and the Bhutas and Atithi. So these are the 5. So Devata is performing sacrifices because while you perform sacrifices, definitely you will host a variety of Brahmins who are having the excellence of performing the sacrifice and the authority also, so that they can invoke gods and please them on your behalf. So while doing so, you will be definitely taking care of their needs. You will be paying them some compensation for what they are doing for you, and by that their families are in turn taken care of. So you are taking care of the Brahmin families because they are supposed to live in stringent rules of not asking for money, or not begging for money, or not coveting too much. So they are to live a contented and satisfied life with the minimalistic requirements which are for their own upkeep of the body and mind, so that they are stable. So this way you are then contributing towards the survival of Brahmins. So Devata Yajna. Then Rishi. By doing a self-study of the scriptures, you are paying back your tribute to the Rishis. Then the Pitras. So by performing Tarpana, by performing Pindadana, you are satisfying, or oblations, you are satisfying the Pitras. Pitras are people who are in the other land, other lokas, with subtle bodies. They do not have a physical body the way we do. they have subtle bodies, and through those subtle bodies, they also, the point is, they are unable to nourish themselves. So it is we who have a physical body, who enjoy this physical realm. It is duty bound on us to nourish them. So they get nourished by our intentions, the power of our intentions. So don't ask me that, how is it that the water which I pour here is going to go up. The water won't go, but your intentions will go through the energy of the water which comes out flowing through your palm. So that way you are satisfying the pitras. Then the bhutas are nothing but the other living creatures are to be satisfied, because they are definitely hunting for food and water and shelter, because they also have their own reproductive cycle the way human beings do. Then the Atithi. So Atithi is one who comes at your doorstep without any prior intimation. Yeah, a Tithi, the one who has no Tithi or a particular date or a time for arrival, the one who comes unannounced, or who happens to come unannounced. It is not that he intentionally wants to give you some trouble and then he is marking your house and coming there. So he is not an Atithi. So Atithi is by chance the one who is passing by and who is in need of certain food and shelter, or certain any other help which he or she might need. So this person is Atithi, and serving the Atithi without any bias, personal bias, or without any malintentions about, or greediness, or the other aversions of, oh, why should I part with my income, or why should I part with whatever I have with this person who is an entire stranger to me. So this should not be there. So by serving the Atithis, so these 5 are called as the Panchamaha Yajnas, or the 5 great sacrifices, performing which the mind of a human transforms into a more approachable and into a more inclusive human being. The heart chakra opens up. So that way then you find energy, divine energy flowing into you automatically once you open up towards the world without forming any barriers, barricades, or resistances. So that way this family life then paves the way, or sets you forth with the energy required, and the and catapulting you, or promoting you to a higher level of existence, and thereby helping you fulfill your ultimate goal of realizing your true identity, or who you really are. Without these, achieving or jumping directly to the last stage is nearly impossible for a person who is not born for that. So by going through all this in a regulated manner, it is ensured that even an ordinary person is able to finally experience bliss, or that transcendental state which many saints do in this very life. That is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma, and that is the beauty, and that is the reason, and this is the intention with which one should enter family life. So I don't want to make this video longer than this. It's already 24 minutes. So thank you for staying with me, and let's catch up soon.